It was 2 days to Christmas, and Lagos was already on fire, not literally, but in that usual December way. Everyone was shouting, honking, rushing, sweating, packing, and complaining at the same time. In the middle of all this noise stood the Johnson family's house in Surulere, peaceful on the outside, but inside, chaos was dancing azonto. Mama Johnson was shouting from the kitchen like her voice was on loudspeaker. "Femi, have you packed your bag?" No answer. She marched into the living room, and there was 11-year-old Femi, sitting cross-legged on the couch, watching cartoons like he was the landlord of DSTV. One hand in a pack of chin-chin, the other holding the TV remote like a trophy. "Femi," she shouted again. "Yes, Mommy," he replied, eyes still glued to the screen. "Are you ready?" "Almost." "Almost?" She folded her arms. "This boy wants to make me shout till next year." The Johnsons were preparing to travel to their hometown in Ogun State for Christmas, one of those legendary Lagos to village migrations where half of the city suddenly disappears. The house was upside down. Auntie BC from next door was playing gospel songs loud enough for even mosquitoes to hear. The generator was humming at the back. The smell of fried rice, stew, and jollof was mixing with heat from the kitchen. Femi's father, Mr. Johnson, was outside arguing with the driver. "You must tie those boxes properly, or last year, you dropped one on 3rd Mainland Bridge." Femi sat there, calm in the middle of the storm, licking groundnuts and pretending not to hear anything. By 7 p.m., everything was ready. Bags packed, coolers sealed, Mama still shouting instructions like a traffic warden. "Where is my small bag? Who took my slippers? Somebody check the iron." Mr. Johnson honked from outside. "Everybody in the car now." Femi grabbed his backpack lazily and followed them out. But just as he reached the car, he remembered something: his game console. He gasped and ran back inside. "Just 1 minute." He dashed upstairs, found the game under his bed, hugged it like gold, and ran back down. But by the time he got to the gate, silence. The car was gone. He blinked. He rubbed his eyes. He ran to the road. No car. No dust. Nothing. At first, he thought it was a joke. "They are coming back, right?" he said to himself. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. His voice got smaller. "Mommy?" No reply. Only the neighbor's dog barking like it was laughing at him. He dropped his bag slowly. "Omo, they really left me." For 1 full minute, he stood there frozen. Then, little by little, a smile crept across his face. "Wait, oh, that means I'm home alone?" He looked around the empty house. Then he jumped. Yes. The freedom hit him like cold Pepsi on a hot day. He ran straight to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and started inspecting like a detective. Fried rice. Check. Suya. Check. Malt. Check. Meat. Double check. He grabbed everything, went to the living room, turned on the TV, and increased the volume like cinema. Ah, see life. He sat like a king, eating, laughing, and changing channels every 5 seconds. He even started giving himself interviews. "So, Femi, how does it feel to be the man of the house?" He answered himself, "Well, it's not easy, but someone has to do it." After 2 hours of pure enjoyment, the house was a mess: plates everywhere, crumbs on the couch, juice spilled on the floor. But he didn't care. Then, as he was dancing to one Davido song, thud, something dropped outside. He froze. Another sound: clink. Like metal touching metal. He tiptoed to the window and peeped. 2 men stood near the fence, whispering. One had a small bag, the other a flashlight. "Omo," Femi whispered. His heart started beating like drum. One man said, "This house empty, Abi?" The other replied, "Yes, them travel. We go move quietly." Femi's eyes widened. "Ah, armed robbers." He hid behind the curtain, shaking. His mind started racing. Then a small smile appeared on his face. They picked the wrong house today. He ran to the kitchen and started gathering weapons, not real weapons but Lagos edition: broom, pepper, powder, and Mama's big wooden spoon. He mixed water and pepper in a bowl and placed it by the window. Then he poured powder on the floor to catch footprints, tied broomsticks across the corridor, and set a bucket on top of the door. When the two robbers jumped the fence, Femi was ready. The first one whispered, "Guy, you sure say nobody dey here?" "Calm down," the second one said. "I checked. They don't travel." As soon as they opened the window, splash. Pepper water poured on their faces. "Ah, my eye!" One screamed. "Jesus, who do that?" The other shouted, jumping back. Inside the house, Femi was laughing so hard he nearly fell. Then he picked up a metal spoon and hit it on the railing, shouting in his deepest voice, "This is the police. You are surrounded." The two men panicked. "Police?" one yelled. They dropped their bags and ran. The first jumped the fence and landed in a dustbin. The other tripped over the gate and rolled into the gutter. Femi laughed till tears came out of his eyes. "Omo, see drama." He strutted around like a superhero, raising his hands in victory. "Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Pepper Attack successful." He even started imagining newspaper headlines. "Small boy in Surulere chases thieves with pepper water." When he finally went to bed that night, he felt like the strongest boy in Lagos. But unknown to him, the story was not over. Because the robbers were coming back. The next morning, Femi woke up feeling like a Lagos superhero. He stretched, smiled, and said to himself, "Omo, I chased armed robbers last night. Nobody should talk to me anyhow again." He brushed his teeth with swagger, walked around the house like a general, and even saluted his reflection in the mirror. He turned on the radio and heard Christmas songs playing. That's when it hit him it was Christmas Eve. His whole family was probably in the village eating pounded yam and laughing at his expense. "Mommy go be shouting, that's what he gets for watching cartoon instead of packing," he said, shaking his head. He opened the fridge and sighed. At least they left food. He warmed jollof rice, fried 2 eggs, and made himself a tall cup of Milo. He even sat at the dining table like a proper adult, saying, "Thank you, Lord, for this breakfast, and thank you for helping me pepper those thieves." By afternoon, he started getting bored. He'd already watched every cartoon, eaten too much rice, and danced to all the songs on TV. He thought of calling his parents, but his phone battery was dead and of course, NEPA hadn't brought light since morning. He looked around. The house was quiet. Too quiet. That's when he heard a faint noise from outside, like whispers. He tiptoed to the window again. 2 familiar shadows stood near the fence. "Guy, I swear, that pepper thing last night no be ghost. Somebody die inside that house," one voice said. The other replied, That's why we must go back tonight. We can't lose that chance. December money no go wait." Femi's mouth dropped. "These people again?" He placed his hands on his head. "Ah, so they didn't learn their lesson?" He ran to his notebook and started drawing new traps. Plan A. Water and pepper already used. Plan B. Rope and bucket used. Plan C. He tapped his pen on his chin. Electricity. He smiled. "If NEPA won't give me light, I'll borrow small from Daddy's battery." He started working like a tiny engineer. He connected wires from the small inverter battery to the front gate, not enough to hurt badly, just enough to shock and make them jump. Then he spread oil on the floor near the back door, so anyone who stepped there would slide like a cartoon character. He tied Mama's mop to the ceiling with rope, placed flour on the cupboard, and even added a few eggs to the setup just for drama. When he was done, he stood back and admired his handiwork. "Femi, you are a genius." He spent the rest of the day preparing mentally. He even made himself a hero meal curry and ground nuts and said, "Let me eat before battle starts." At exactly 9:45 p.m., NEPA struck again. The whole street went dark. Only a few candles and generator sounds echoed from far away. Femi whispered to himself, "Here we go again." The robbers arrived quietly, climbing the fence like cats. The first one whispered, "Guy, no noise. We'll just enter, grab what we need, and move." As soon as his hand touched the gate, zap. "Yee! My hand!" he screamed, shaking like a dancing broom. Wetin happen? The second asked. Current. This boy connect light. Before he could finish, he stepped on the oily floor and his legs flew in opposite directions. He landed with a heavy gibam. The first robber tried to help him up, but his shoe slipped on the same spot. They both fell again. Inside, Femi was biting his fingers to stop himself from laughing too loud. Then, as they tried to stand, the mop that Femi tied earlier fell from the ceiling and hit one of them straight on the head. "Ah, who dey there?" he shouted. "Wetin be this?" the other cried, covered in flour and egg. Femi couldn't hold it anymore. He burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, you people will not kill me, oh." The robbers froze. "Wait, that's a child's voice." "N. You finally realize?" Femi shouted. "You came to steal in a child's house. God will judge you." The robbers were embarrassed and angry now. "Let's catch that boy," one said. As they rushed toward the corridor, they hit the broom trap from part one again. Wham! One tripped, the other crashed into the wall. "Omo, this boy gets spirit, oh," one muttered, crawling on the floor. Then Femi picked up the empty plastic bucket and threw it from the top of the stairs. Bam! It landed on one man's head. "Ah, my destiny," he shouted, running in circles. The other one finally screamed, "Let's go. This house is cursed." They dashed out through the back door, climbed the fence, and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind their bag of stolen tools. Femi stood there panting, sweating and smiling proudly. Mission accomplished. Operation Scatter Thieves successful. He looked around at the mess. The floor was covered with flour, oil, broken egg, and shoe prints. He sighed. "Omo, if mommy comes back and sees this house, I'm finished." He got a mop and started cleaning like a humble cleaner, still giggling to himself. By midnight, he finally sat down, tired but proud. He whispered, "Nobody should mess with me again. I'm now Femi the Protector." He yawned, curled up on the couch, and slept peacefully for the first time, feeling like a real hero. Meanwhile, far away in Ogun State, Mama Johnson suddenly shouted, "Where is Femi's game console?" Everyone went quiet. She turned slowly to her husband. "Did you see Femi carry it?" Mr. Johnson frowned. "He ran back to get it, I think." They both froze. Mama's voice cracked. "Don't tell me." Mr. Johnson's eyes widened. "We left him." Auntie BC screamed from the back seat. "Ha, you people forgot Femi." Mama Johnson shouted, "Driver, turn this car around now." The next morning, Femi woke up to the sound of a horn outside. He rubbed his eyes, sat up, and peeped through the curtain. A car was pulling up by the gate, a familiar car. He gasped. "Ah, Mommy and Daddy." He looked around the sitting room. Food crumbs on the table, flour still on the floor, mop hanging from the ceiling like a ghost, and a bucket stuck in one corner. "Omo," he shouted. "I'm finished." He jumped up and started running around, trying to clean everything at once. He picked up plates, swept the floor, hid broken eggs under the sink, and wiped the table with his t-shirt. The more he tried, the worse it looked. "Femi," Mama's voice echoed from outside. "Just a minute, Mommy," he shouted, dragging the mop around like a possessed janitor. He picked up the pepper bowl, threw it away, wiped the floor again, and then sprayed air freshener like his life depended on it. The house smelled like lemon and disaster. The gate opened. Mr. Johnson entered first. "Femi," he called. Femi appeared from behind the door, breathing heavily, smiling too much. "Welcome, Daddy." Mama rushed in, almost tripping on a bucket. "Ah, what is all this?" Small accident," Femi said, scratching his head. Mr. Johnson looked around. "Accident? The house looks like one Nollywood war film." Mama dropped her bag. "Femi, what happened here?" He tried to explain everything at once. "Mommy, it's not my fault, oh. You people forgot me, then armed robbers came. But I chased them away, then they came back again, and I chased them again, then the mop fell." Wait, 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 his father said, blinking. Robbers? You chased armed robbers? Yes, Daddy. 2 of them. I poured pepper water on them, and they ran. Mama gasped. You did what? Then I connected small wire to the gate and shocked them. Not too much, oh, just small. Ha, Femi. Mama shouted. What if something had happened to you? Femi looked down for a second. Nothing happened, Mommy. I handled it. For a moment, the room was quiet. Mr. Johnson and Mama looked at each other, then at him. Then Mr. Johnson burst out laughing. This boy is unbelievable. Even Mama tried to hide her smile. You and this your film life? Femi grinned. So, you're not angry? Mr. Johnson sighed. We'll talk about the mess later. For now, thank God you're safe. Mama hugged him tightly. Don't ever scare me like that again, you hear? Yes, Mommy. Then she sniffed the air and frowned. Wait. Why does this house smell like pepper soup and detergent? Femi coughed. Long story. They all laughed, and for a few minutes, the tension melted away. But just when everything seemed calm, there was a loud knock on the gate. Who is that? Mr. Johnson called out. A man's voice replied, Good morning, sir. We are from Surulere police station. We caught 2 men last night who said one small boy in this compound poured pepper water and electric shock on them. Mama's eyes widened. Mr. Johnson looked at Femi. You mean the robbers actually reported themselves? Femi whispered, maybe they didn't like the pepper. Mr. Johnson started laughing so hard he almost fell. Omo, only in Lagos. The police officer continued, they said they wanted to complain because the small boy embarrassed them. Mama covered her face. My God. The officer looked confused. So, is this the boy? Yes. Mr. Johnson said proudly. That's my son, Femi, the small but mighty defender. The officer nodded in amusement. Well done, young man. You are very brave. But next time, please call for help instead of fighting robbers alone. Yes, sir, Femi said shyly. As the officer left, Mama shook her head. This boy has given me 10 years of stress in one weekend. That evening, after everything settled, they all sat at the dining table to eat. Mama served rice and chicken, and everyone was laughing as Femi told the full story in dramatic style. Then they touched the gate and the thing shocked them. One even shouted, My destiny. Mr. Johnson laughed till tears came out of his eyes. Omo, you're something else. Mama shook her head but smiled. At least you're safe. But you'll clean that whole mess tomorrow morning. Yes, Mommy, Femi said quickly. After dinner, he lay in bed, smiling to himself. He felt proud, not because of the pepper or the traps, but because he had faced fear and used his brain. As he closed his eyes, he heard his father's voice from the next room. Mama Femi, next time, you'll count the children twice before traveling. Mama replied, Oga, next time you'll do the counting yourself. They both laughed, and the house finally felt like home again. The next day, the Johnsons decorated their small Christmas tree. Auntie BC came over and said, I heard thieves came to your house. Femi, is it true you used pepper to chase them? Femi smiled proudly. Yes, ma. She laughed. Omo, this Lagos no fit you small. You go do well. Mr. Johnson looked at his son and said, So what did you learn from all this? Femi thought for a moment. I learned that when NEPA doesn't bring light, robbers can suffer too. Everybody burst into laughter again. And that night, as the Christmas lights blinked and the generator hummed softly, Femi whispered to himself, Home alone in Lagos, mission complete. He closed his eyes with a big grin. Somewhere far away, 2 robbers were still rubbing ointment on their peppered faces, swearing never to rob in Surulere again.